You are listening to the Just Sayin podcast.
Hey there, thanks for checking out the Just Sayin podcast. The following episode was originally posted on March 2nd, 2014. Music in this podcast was by Destiny of Grandeur. If you enjoyed our podcast, please check out our other episodes posted on rabblepress.com. So, I just dropped my piece of paper that I was reading from. Cool. Anyway, hope you enjoy. Just Sayin podcast. Just a bunch of normal people talking about normal things in this normal world that we call normality, normalness.
Is that even a word, normality?
It's a word now. I am here with Amanda Campanaro?
Amanda Campanaro.
Campanaro.
Close enough. I am totally pumped to be a part of this. This is a very outside-the-box experiment for me. I don't feel nervous right now.
Good.
I just happen to have a bit of a speech impediment. That's my
Good.
thing.
Me too.
So, that's that. Just saying. Gotta keep it real.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Sal.
So, what are you doing? What are you in school for? Are you in school?
Yes.
What are you doing with your life?
All right.
Are you important?
Okay, well, that's a topic to be debated. Hi, my name's Amanda Campanaro. I'm 21 years old, living in Hamilton, Ontario. I'm in school for social work. However, I am thinking about pinpointing more of a specific role in working with children. I'm volunteering. I have 2 jobs right now, living that absolutely crazy, stressful student life.
That's epic.
Yeah, I do what I can.
And you have no car.
And I have no car. I go all around Hamilton.
Just busing.
Hey, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. You're young and you try to build a life for yourself. Sacrifice.
Yeah, hustle.
Gotta hustle. But
true.
No.
I'm saying that's just crazy. You have 2 jobs. You're a student full time. No, full time.
Yeah, full time. I have 7 courses plus I have a practicum. On more of a less, institutionalized note, I am an optimist. I am very open-minded. I guess if you put that in a intellectual kind of sense. I am interested in culinary things. I love cooking. I like to write on occasion. And I am I don't know.
You don't know who you are? Well, that's where you.
I know what I am. I know what I am. It's just if someone were to tell you and sit there and sit you down and say, "Tell me everything about yourself, but briefly."
Oh, like in every odd job interview that I ever had.
I never know what to say.
I
like
hate
people
that
ask
part of the
you,
interview.
"What's your hobbies?" And I'm like, I watch Netflix on my spare time. Like, I don't know.
They do that to me all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, the hardest question is always at the
And they'll
beginning.
be like,
tell us about yourself, and then the room goes quiet. Like,
And this is also another good thing on the topic of narcissism as well. You have to sit there and basically sell yourself. And you know what? This can either make you or break you. Some people can have a bit lower self-esteem, but still somehow wiggle their way out of it. And some people completely own it. They're confident. They say it as it is. No BS. Yeah. It is what it is, and people are like, "Whoa!"
It's like you have to be extroverted just to get a job. But like, I'm not though. I'm like,
and being
introverted.
extroverted is also common in our generation nowadays. Us in our early 20s, a lot more of us are becoming extroverted and more outside of the box.
It's like you have to be now. It's crazy.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to say like your living situation.
Oh, I'm currently living with, I'm still living with my mom. Remember, I'm a student, 2 part-time jobs.
Crazy.
And I'm also living actually with my mom in my nonna's house, or grandmother for some of you.
Hey, who's that handsome guy? Hello, 911 emergency. There's a handsome guy in my house. Oh, wait a second, cancel that. It's only me.
So, Sal, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about me. No, we're talking about narcissism in our youth today.
Our generation right now is completely and totally different than even the generation that is behind us.
It's like we were programmed this way too. It's messed up.
Pretty much. It's almost what was in our upbringing. Like, we were literally born and raised when technology was hitting its peak. When we all began to see materialism in a new light, but in almost a dangerous kind of light. A very, they could go dangerous, like either a good risk or like something that completely ruins you. You know what I mean? Like people spending all this kind of money on material items instead of realizing their self-love instead and like enjoying the finer things in life. Like, well, not the finer things in life, but, simple things. This is my theory. Because today we have so much going on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, all those other kind of websites.
Instagram,
Snapchat, Reddit. Oh my
Tumblr,
gosh, the list goes on.
Blogger,
Yeah,
WordPress,
everything.
Facebook, MySpace.
Most of us feel in our obligation to kind of be as bold and open as we possibly can be. Like, show who you are in the way you know best. And for some people, that's posting selfies, which is a whole other topic rooted to narcissism, but that's something that can be debated too. But people posting very bold comments, some of them even elaborate, like, it just ranges from so many different things, posting risky tweets or, even through texting. It's just absolutely
gotta have the best
nuts.
picture.
Gotta have the best picture. And that's almost created a bit of a void in us because we don't really know what self-love is, besides what people tell you from all these comments and, opinions and things that go on with social media nowadays. And so maybe that's why people go out and splurge on money to feel some sort of satisfaction.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Some people say that narcissism can sometimes be mistaken for high self-esteem.
Yep.
The thing is, if you have high self-esteem and you're very, kind of not really self-loving, but self-respective, that's a good quality to have.
Yes.
And in relationships, you'd actually excel because you'd be giving more of yourself.
Yeah.
But narcissism is the complete opposite, where instead of you're giving more of yourself, you're trying to take more for yourself.
Take more from other people. You think of making friends as more as an opportunity to take advantage of what they have.
Exactly, yeah.
Than to actually gain something and give something to gain in return.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Just saying, not necessarily, but...
Well, not necessarily. That's still a topic to be debated.
I know when I was in high school, hanging around a bunch of guys all the time, they'd always be like, hey, I know this guy, he knows this guy who can get me this, or I know a guy who can get me that. So it's like, not even high school, and even in grade school was like that too. So I was growing up with the thought kind of thinking like, okay, so everyone becomes friends so that they have connections.
And by these connections, there's if it was almost as if the more connections you had, the more power you had.
Exactly.
And especially in high school. I mean,
it's crazy.
I personally kind of relate to myself in terms of where I fit in high school as Switzerland. I've always been neutral. Literally, that's the best way to put it. But that's one thing I've always observed. People that affiliated with others that had other connections just always seem to put on a front that they have more power. And I mean, I could be, heating a lot of people up by saying this, but...
Well, you're not targeting anyone.
I'm not targeting anyone in particular, but it is true. I'm just saying it is true. Everyone can admit it. You know it. They're there, and that's what it is. So...
I guess some people get the impression that if they have to look a certain way or act a certain way and stay that way to feel loved and accepted.
To feel loved, accepted, feel good about themselves, to build up some sort of self-esteem, even though it's artificial, But
that's what some companies actually try to do with when they're marketing products. They're like,
makeup,
hey,
clothes,
L'Oreal, you're so worth it. Or was it you're worth it?
Because you're worth it. I don't even know if it's L'Oreal.
Yeah, it's L'Oreal.
It's L'Oreal?
Yeah,
okay.
With the London bus and everything. And the British accents.
Oh no. Because that's Rimmel, but...
That's Rimmel.
Okay,
the London look.
Anyway, that's besides the point. But
why am I talking about makeup? I'm a guy.
But it's these kind of people...
Manly! Oh, sorry. I have to get that out.
That's okay. But with these kinds of people that exude that kind of artificial self-worth, if you want to call it that, also, it's almost like an aura that they give off that other people pick up on, and they begin to believe it too. Mm-hmm. And it's almost oppressive, this feeling. Almost.
It's like a safety blanket.
It's almost like a safety blanket. It's difficult to pinpoint exactly the words you say, but people see it, but it's something almost unspoken. And they just go on with their lives or do anything they possibly can in their power, in some people's cases, to be that kind of person too.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
I just remember being in high school, and I switched high schools. I used to go to a high school that was, a lot of narcissism was in the air. You felt it. As soon as you walked in, you knew that everyone is going to be in their clique. Everyone was going to put a smile on their faces and pretend to love everyone based on their connections, not for who they were. And to me, it was toxic. And that's why I left my first year. Second year, first day, grade 10, first period, I met my best friend. And I became super close with her group of friends.
BFF.
And Yep, 6 years later, we're still great.
And no, that's
They're
true.
still in my life, and we're having coffee this weekend. So, you know. But the big difference there was one school was full of narcissism, and the one school, it was more of an underlying thing for me.
It's kind of the same wherever you go, though, with high school. Like, everyone's trying to, like, be the shining star of,
Yeah,
like,
there's
the
always
world.
going to be those people who are so much more... They're those people. I guess you would
Yeah.
coin them as the popular people in high school. That is
popular.
the term used.
That's just an illusion, though, because, like,
Yeah.
10 years from then, they cannot be popular anymore. I don't know how it works.
Even
Like, I still can't figure it out.
No.
It's like, you're popular in high school, then now you're, like, on the streets and
yeah.
druggied up.
And you want to know something? People go in so many different directions after high school. I graduated 3 years ago, and I'm talking to people now who I wouldn't have ever thought I would even speak to back in high school. And it's like, why now and not then? Think about it.
Exactly.
You become more self-identified after you leave high school. Mind you, of course, there's still some narcissism floating around in society because it's always going to be that elephant in the room. It's different after you leave high school than when you begin to get into the real world now.
Do you feel that it kind of went away when you went to college? Mm-hmm. Because you know what the scientists or studies have shown, that over the past 30 years, the rate of narcissism in college has gone up by 30%.
I agree.
That's a lot of look at me, I'm better than you, and I don't care about your feelings kind of people.
Well, about 2 years ago, for a year, right after high school, I went to the University of Guelph for a year. I was majoring in European studies, and I had planned to minor in minor in Italian studies, and, you know, learn it as a second language.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, deep down inside, it was more of an experience for me to get away and do something outside the box and meet new people than the academic, though I learned a lot still. But I remember my first day meeting people on the floor that I was living on in the res that I was living in. My life changed in those 8 months. I grew up. I finally kind of saw things for what they really were and not just based on the bias that I was used to from being in high school, fresh out of high school too. I met people and they met me and they got to know me for the person I am today and not for who I was yesterday. They weren't judging me based on my past. They were judging me for who I was. And there was like a mutual respect. However, the form of narcissism that I saw while I was in res, while people were in college, is people are constantly trying to better themselves.
What year was this?
This was 2011 to
So, okay,
2012. When people would introduce themselves from time to time throughout campus, if I was talking to them, or, you know, sometimes even throughout the malls, because Guelph is very much a university town. You see students everywhere. Even in res, while, you know, hanging out. Some people would introduce themselves, yeah, I'm in this program, I'm volunteering for this company, I plan to get a job in this field. After I graduate from here, I want to do this, I live in this place, in this kind of house. And I was always kind of like, well, shoot.
You got everything set up.
Good
You're
for
way
you.
better
Give
than
yourself a
me.
pat on the back. I am completely screwed here because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing while I was there. And thank heavens I figured out everything at this point. For the most part, I'm still kind of learning more things and branching off from what I'm experiencing now, but that's off topic.
Some people learn the hard way, like everything you just said. Like some people actually learn the hard way. Like I learned, like how the world works later on in life, and I'm like, whoa, wait, people are.
Actually, you want to know what? Yes.
I don't mean that. Like,
you began
that's what
to
I
be.
meant.
This is the thing. Now we're talking about high self-esteem now. Because if you become more empathetic of others, then you are growing as a person, not as a narcissist.
Exactly, yeah, it's a good thing.
That's a good thing. And in university, you do grow higher self-esteem, but there is an underlying tone of narcissism there that's still there. That I found, at least.
So you mean like people who feel entitled or like entitled to your respect, or like they feel like they should be like
have you ever
treated like royalty?
Yeah,
I've
almost.
been to college.
Yeah, you've sat in a lecture where you've always had that one guy talking to the prof the entire time, answering every question at his beck and tail. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like that know-it-all.
Yeah.
Not know-it-all, but highly educated individual.
You want to think like maybe he's just trying to like look good for the teacher.
Yeah.
Because I know when my program, like if you're close with the teacher, you're close to get it. You'll get a job like right after college, basically. Because the teacher would be like,
Not
oh,
the
this guy's got his stuff together because he totally buys me coffee, and that totally makes sense because you know.
I can
What were you gonna say?
understand that.
What were you gonna say?
But in my program, it's we make connections while we're working in the fields. Like right now in my practicum, I'm in an elementary school, which is, you know, right off the bat I knew I wouldn't be getting any kind of job out of this, at least through the practicum itself. But I've gained some opportunities through the YWCA's after school program there, you know, to take part in their volunteer opportunities, which do offer some kind of employment after. So that's where I'm going to be putting more of my efforts in. But that does make sense, though.
Okay, back to sorry, you went off topic a bit, but that's okay.
Same idea, but
That's okay.
more branching off on high self-esteem.
Yeah, that's basically the high
definition of
self-esteem.
high self-esteem.
High self-esteem, good. Narcissism, bad. Because narcissism could also be a like it could range from a small tendency to actually a full-blown clinical disorder, which is crazy. Like, people actually feel like they should have everything, like it should always be about them.
Yes.
And they'd feel like it's a respect, and they feel like, oh, because they're this way, everyone should treat them that way.
They actually genuinely believe that they are better and deserve better than
Yeah.
everyone else around them.
And I think it's healthy to be like always like
Superior.
looking in the mirror, just making sure, or just absorbing themselves, because they feel like, I love myself. What? I love myself. Look at me. I love myself.
For example,
By the
we're
way,
going to use...
there's a mirror behind you. If you feel the need to look at
Oh,
yourself.
hello.
Hi.
Wow. Hi. Oh, JK. But I'm going to use a little bit of a media example here. Before we began recording, Sal and I watched a clip of Johnny Bravo.
Oh yeah. Hey there, mama.
That was pretty accurate, actually. Well done. Kudos.
Hey there, sexy mama.
Brownie points. Good heavens.
Oh, that was such a good
That was
cartoon.
Actually, it was hilarious, but now that we look at it, and now that we're on this topic,
Yeah, it was
it's
just like-
shocking. It's like, how could you expose the kids to this? Oh my gosh.
Hey, military mama, have you seen guns like this before?
Howling. So funny.
Like, I remember when I watched that as a kid, I'm like, he's kind of like Elvis, but not really. But like, I never actually related with him. Like, you know the show like Hey Arnold?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of related with that a little bit more. But
Yes.
with Johnny Bravo is like, okay, this big muscular dude
Hitting
always
on
trying to-
all these girls.
hitting on every girl that he sees, basically. And then, like, I don't know, they brought in like the little girl and like the mother and tried to make it seem like more of a like a kid friendly
Yeah.
show, but like it was just
Really wasn't.
it was just like him going on being all narcissistic and like thinking about like being with women all the time. Like, it kind of like in a snapshot of like society now. Oh, yo, look at that girl over there. Oh, we should totally go talk to her, get her number, and then have good relationships with her.
And the funny
Stuff
thing
like
is,
that.
people...
And then do it again for the rest of our lives, and then get married, and then somehow everything will be perfect. Because it's all about me.
distorted.
I am only here because I deserve the best, and I'm gonna have a big house and a nice car, and everyone's gonna love me because I deserve to be loved because I have so much to give to people, and you're like looking at me weird.
Yep.
Sorry, that's
No,
not
it
my
makes
voice.
sense. It makes sense. Like, I understand what you're talking about 100%.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're, especially with what the media portrays, TV shows, not all of them. There's some very good ones out there that, you know, don't have that kind of example. But for the ones that do, you know, it really has made an effect on the way people are, especially in our generation. And it's alarming looking at us then and looking at us now. Such a difference. A lot of sex appeal in society now.
The society is over sexualized.
It's over sexualized at this point.
Crazy. Like rap music. I made a note that I want to talk about rap music because for a
Talk
while.
about rap music. I'm gonna go get some cashews.
Cashews.
I want some cashews.
Cashews. Get the cash in the shoes. Like, if you listen to the lyrics of rap music, it's all very self-indulgent. Like, the rappers, they talk about the cars, the money, the hoes, the cars, and the houses, and the stuff that
Very overly and unnecessarily graphic sexual experiences with men and women.
that's a good way of saying it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and bragging about it, like
Throwing it out in people's faces.
It's just-
I
it's
do
just
it. You should
bragging.
do it too.
yeah, it's like
Great
rap
message
music.
to portray.
Rap music today is just bragging. It's just like, hey, I got all this money. I'm gonna throw it in the air. Money. I've got all this stuff going for me. How do
it's
you
too
feel
bad.
about that? Too bad. I'm talking about it.
And it's too bad because, you know what, I'm not going to say all rap music. There's some rap artists that genuinely write good music. But there are some songs out there that their lyrical content, to be blunt, is complete garbage. Garbage. If you were to listen to this point blank, you'd be like, what are you talking about,
Like,
buddy?
why do I care?
Why? Good for you. You want a gold star? Like,
The beat's nice.
This is what I'm about to say. If you were to take away the lyrics, change them around into something better, and, you know,
Something like nourishing and enriching to your mind and
well, not talking
Thoughts.
about sex, partying, drugs, rock and roll, you know.
because that just makes you feel empty when you hear them talking about that.
Well,
Like,
I'm
I
telling you
got
right now,
this. Beam
I
Benz
probably
Bentley.
listen to that song 10 times more than I would listen to the other one. Because, honestly, 80% of that kind of garbage is what we hear on the radio, which is what is played on the radio stations, in stores, where we work in, where we consume.
It's
It
true.
sucks. Just saying.
But yeah, rap music is. I'm not saying that rap music is bad. Just the lyrical content is just a little bit narcissist. Can you agree with me on that?
bit.
A lot of it narcissist.
Especially now.
Especially
even
now,
think
yeah.
about the big time rap artists who would have probably been just as popular today as they were yesterday. Great beats, great tunes, you know, like
Yeah.
legendary. Like, and you know what? I will say there's some really awesome beats that we hear nowadays, and, you know, mixes that people come up with, but then the lyrics are complete garbage. Even back then, like 20 years ago, you listen to the lyrics and it's about having a good time,
Yeah.
not partying, having sex, you know, doing drugs and stuff like that.
Promoting that stuff. Yeah.
Promoting it. And you know what?
And-
Everything is important in moderation.
It's
but
true.
It's people that come off as, you know, excessive,
Yeah.
over the top.
Like Gucci this, Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton that, 2 private jets.
Everyone is always going to have something that, you know, they're proud to own.
Yeah.
What we're trying to prove and what we're trying to explain is that everything is important in moderation. But people who possess a narcissistic sort of outlook,
Or in look if you want.
In look.
If you want to be funny about it. Punny about it.
don't understand that. And
Mm-hmm.
they take having materialistic goods as having self-worth. And so they go on and they flaunt it because that's all they really have or know how to flaunt.
It's crazy because sometimes, more often than not, they're trying to fill a void in themselves, or like distract themselves or distract other people from something that's missing in them. Mm-hmm. And so they're trying, like some people, they try to fill the void, or like so these people, they try to amplify like the positive parts of their lives, like
And make it overshadow the rest of the details.
they're trying to make it.
For some people,
I can't talk. I why am I doing a podcast if I can't talk?
I think I know what
It
you're trying to
doesn't make
say.
sense.
It's like they're trying to shelter their inner insecurities that are
Yes.
buried deep down inside, and so they have
Exactly.
this giant narcissistic layer. It's like an onion. You just
Exactly.
peel them away, and eventually you get to the soft core,
Delicious core.
delicious core, where it's like, that's where it is. There's that person. But then there's the
true.
people that genuinely believe that they're gift to mankind, and that's where personality disorder comes in.
Exactly. One of the unfortunate realizations is that, like, we've already been growing up. Like we're 20. We're both 20 something. We've been growing up in this society where it's basically you gotta do what you gotta do, and it should only focus on you, and only do yourself.
YOLO, live your life the way you
YOLO.
want to live it.
Yeah, YOLO. Oh, YOLO.
You only
Yogurt.
live once, that's the motto, baby. YOLO. I just quoted Drake. Make something of yourself so people will remember you
Yeah, exactly.
for who you are, not just what you are doing.
Because no one's gonna remember you if you're just kind of like, hey, boom, cars, boom, I got this, I got that,
I'm
got
at
a
the
hot
bars.
girlfriend, I got another hot girlfriend, I got 2 hot girlfriends
YOLO.
at the same time, but
I just
one
slept
doesn't
with
know
you,
about it.
and I slept with you 3 hours later.
Yeah.
Whatever. You only live once. No.
Check this out. I owe this girl somehow or some way. I don't know.
No. Don't even get me started. No. Anyways.
Have you ever had boyfriends that are like, kind of see you as like arm candy?
Kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I actually, a couple of times, and it's like, for part of it, it's like, it's so cute. Yeah, I'm so cute. Like, whoa. But then after a while, I'm like,
the relationship doesn't like really build.
Are you kidding me? What is this? This is artificial. You don't actually like me. You lust me.
I lust
you. Like me for, my allure, not for me. And it's, nah.
Exactly.
It's not. Nah.
I've had women try to like accuse me of that too. It's like, you only love me for arm candy. I'm just arm candy too. I'm like, yo girl, not me. Maybe them, not me. I'm a real man. Why is my voice like this? I don't know.
It's your alter ego confidence.
Mike
kind
thinks,
of borderline Johnny Bravo sort of voice.
Mikey G thinks is like really I don't know if the word's immature, but he thinks he's like, man, why are you like just breaking out into random voices randomly?
It's like an alter ego, but it's like purposely trying to be like skits. I don't know.
I know, but it's like deep conversation, and
but in a really, really strange voice. Is it almost like, maybe it's almost a bit of a reaction to being so honest. It's like you feel so nervous that your body just naturally reacts, and you do something weird to kind of give it some kind of comedic relief.
I've reached a point in my life where
food for thought.
I just reached a point in my life where like I don't care. Like I'm not gonna try and sound like a real manly man. I'm not gonna sound like this because I remember in high school, like I would always like talk like a octave lower than I would. Like this is how I would talk in high school. I'd be like, "Yo, what up?" I'd be like talking like this, but like my voice isn't really like that. It's kind of like all over the place. I'm like, "Hi, I got a high voice. I'm so happy. Yay! Lollipops!" And then I got a real low voice. I've got like a baritone. Voice like a baritone so low, it'll make your speakers explode. But yeah, that was just me. I'm not self-indulging. I'm just kind of explaining that I'm not really crazy. I am crazy. Am I crazy?
Yes, but
in a righteous way.
Yeah.
What am I saying?
So, you're the kind of person, you march to the beat of your own drum.
It's not really a drum. It's more of like a... like if you kick pots and pans down a staircase, like an endless staircase, kind of like that.
Okay, so you march to the beat of your own pots
and pans falling down a staircase.
Okay.
And then every once in a while, there's like a
gotcha.
What
occasional.
There's an angry squirrel just like
chilling.
Just kind of like running by, like trying to avoid the pots and pans going down the stairs. And then trying to go up the stairs.
Okay, we just crossed the line. The line was like all the way on the other end, and we just went into like a different dimension.
And then it's like a really fluffy scroll. So like that's like my subconscious trying to get back up the stairs, or like the rest of my consciousness is just kind of like.
Okay, so let me just talk about. We were talking about Sal's personality type, and then I mentioned he marches to the beat of his own drum, and he's like, I don't really have a drum. I more have like pots and pans and squirrels and things, and the squirrel is like kind of just the guy. And what are we even talking about?
Like no one's perfect, but
yeah.
Like I watched this Dr. Phil episode where like he was the Dr. Phil was interviewing a narcissist, and he was like, so why are you like this? And then she like starts crying and breaking down and like in tears. And it's TV, so it's probably fake, but it kind of explains like, you know, because it's believable that like, you know, if someone who was completely just it's all about me, but like never really like explaining themselves like on a deeper level, then you can kind of, it would make sense why they would just break down and cry, because like, yeah, like I'm doing this because I want to feel accepted. I want to feel accepted.
Yeah.
All the time, because I need to be, because in the case of this lady, like her parents never like gave her attention, so she kind of just always needs attention now. So
yep.
But yeah, sorry. Just saying. Just saying podcast. We just say stuff. Just saying. Yeah. On to the next part of our topic. So, do you know where the word how the word narcissism
narcissism
came to be?
It has. I know it's Greek.
It's actually based off a Greek folklore.
Ah, see? I was
Yeah.
correct. There's my European studies coming into effect.
Yes.
See, that 1 year wasn't for nothing, right?
Yeah. Exactly. How much did that cost you?
Let's not go there.
Yeah, okay, we're not go there.
Okay, narcissism. Greek folklore. Let's talk about this.
The story is actually kind of like touched on in the Bible a bit, but I feel like it's just basically in the Bible. Like the idea was in the Bible, but I want to please my Greek audience, so I'm just gonna tell them the Greek folklore.
Get in touch with our Greek
Man, the
demographic.
Greeks are really like interesting people. I don't say that in a negative way. I say that in the most positive way
Looking
possible.
at Greek history and the way
Greek
that they
history.
developed their idea of society, they were always very much more, in terms of European movements, in terms of social movements, a little bit of a step ahead.
Narcissism was based off of a Greek folklore about a hunter named Narcissus. Narcissus. His. Not about us. It's about his. Narcissus.
Narcissus.
I need an assist with this narcissist.
We both have
Assistance.
a bit of a borderline lisp, so this is very difficult.
I know, I have a list. I had like one guy talking about my last podcast. I'm like, man, you have a very interesting voice.
Yeah. Someone
like,
told me today that I had an accent and that I had a lisp, and I'm like, pardon me? I've never been told that in my life. I've been told a lisp. I used to have a bad speech impediment as a kid, but
yeah.
speech therapy, kids.
It helps,
Speech
yeah.
therapy.
Start a podcast. Maybe it'll fix itself. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. But yeah, he was like, "Man, you have a really interesting voice." Like the reason why I think my voice is so interesting is because I'm actually an introvert and not really an extrovert. So like, I'm actually been programmed not to talk. So like now that I'm talking, I'm going against the laws of nature right now. I'm just like, why are you talking? God's probably like, man, I made you not to talk. Well, he's probably like encouraging me. He's probably not saying stop talking.
You're stepping out of your comfort zone. Yay! And this is the thing.
I came out of my shell.
Yeah, you have a very like alpha sort of voice. Like it's deep. So you wouldn't expect a guy with that kind of voice to be all like,
"You, get over here." God is probably like, oh, I totally made him not to talk, but now he's talking, so like that's pretty sweet. Maybe other people that I made not to talk, well, no, but if I'm talking, then he made me to talk. I don't know what I'm talking about. Narcissus was a hunter from Greek folklore who was renowned for his manly beauty. He was a beautiful man, and he was a hunter. He was in a relationship with garden. I think no, they were called forest fairies.
nymphs.
Forest nymphs, yes. And they were all completely just in love with him because of his beauty. He was unaware of his reflection back in the day because he didn't have like iPhone 6s with like the front-facing camera. So he had no idea like what he looked like, because that's how we all look at each other,
Let's
right?
Let's face it. We
FaceTime
construct mirrors and we construct cameras in our cellular devices, which are everyday.
That's an expensive mirror. Have you ever think about that?
That is like an investment mirror. Technically, because you know what I thought when I bought my phone? Oh, how's the camera? Can I take good selfies? I'm confessing that. I'm telling you right now.
It's an expensive camera and a clock. That's pretty much it.
And a phone.
And a phone, yeah. That's true.
And my computer and my life.
So he was, and everything in my life.
Sad to say. Society.
So he was in a relationship with nymphs, and he had... and one nymph / garden fairy or garden forest fairy, since we're both like arguing on this if they're nymphs or garden.
It's a nymph.
I've heard they were forest fairies, because I guess they were kind of like maybe that was like the fantasized version of the story. I'm not sure, but there was one nymph / forest fairy. Her name was Echo, and she was just completely in love with
mountain nymph.
There were mountain nymphs. You just pointed that out. You just looked that up.
It was a mountain.
There were mountain nymphs.
Nymph.
I see that. Okay, they're mountain nymphs. Nymph. And there was one in particular named Echo, and she was completely in love with Narcissus. The story goes he was trying to get away from Echo. I guess Echo was really clingy. Probably she posted a lot of Facebook statuses about him and tagged him in a lot of photos and tweeted about him a lot. So he was just trying to get away from her, and he came across a large body of water. In some stories, it's depicted as a river. In the Bible, it was a river, and he came upon his reflection, and he just completely was in love with his reflection. Actually, he didn't realize that it was just it was just an image of himself. There was more to him than his reflection. The story ended with he just died. He died there because he was just so engrossed with his reflection that he just couldn't really go anywhere. He
couldn't live without taking his eyes off himself.
Exactly. He could have pulled out his iPhone or his iPad and used the Pizza app on it and maybe get some food. You know,
might have stayed alive for a quick minute, but no.
Even though that food isn't really nourishing.
No.
It's kind of just like nom, nom, nom.
He had water. He had water. He could have lived.
No, because if you touch the water, it'll ripple the water. Then you can't see your reflection.
It'll eventually go back still again.
But like, what are you supposed to do when you're not looking at yourself? Like,
you can go to a different section of the river.
You got to make sure you're always like.
Maybe
attractive.
the lighting was good there. I don't know.
I mean, like, I want to wear, like, you know,
Trust.
Tommy Hilfiger stuff because you gotta look attractive.
Just in case you want to post your next Instagram picture, you gotta make sure you're wearing the right kind of kicks, the right outfit, your hair looking good, the lighting's okay. Just in case you gotta take a selfie while you're there too.
It's gotta be brand new with the tags popped out. Yeah, straight out of the mall.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where the term narcissism comes from. It's based off of Narcissus,
which is a Greek.
Which is the origin of narcissism.
Just saying.
Which is narcissism could also be described as a fixation on oneself. According to statistics, narcissism is on the rise, and I would hate to live in a world where everyone's only goal in life is to get what's theirs and not to give a care about what other people's feelings or goals are.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
It's like being hollow, having a thick outer surface, but then once you crack the surface, Hello. Well, I don't want to say that because I'm sure that maybe that's different for people that are very highly narcissistic.
So you had a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Was that a pumpkin metaphor?
A pumpkin
an
metaphor.
Onion metaphor?
Yeah, I used some vegetables here. Vegetables. But this actually, I like the pumpkin idea better
because... Are they talking
because
vegetables?
Not VeggieTales.
So, I love VeggieTales.
I love VeggieTales too, but we're talking about a pumpkin. I'm going to use a pumpkin as an analogy here.
I laughed, I cried, it moved me, Bob.
A narcissistic person can be dissected like this. We're going to use pineapples.
Okay, now you're with pineapples.
Pumpkins. I am
No, pineapples.
I've been up since 6:30 in the morning.
I've been up since 6:30.
Yeah, 4 hours of sleep, been up since 6:30 in the morning, and it's 11 o'clock at night.
And you're here.
And I'm here, talking about this.
And you're talking about yourself.
Talking about myself?
Well, you were at the beginning.
I was. But now we're talking about the topic of talking about
Talking
yourself.
about the topic of.
Tongue twister. Anyways.
Basically, yeah, we live in a world, yeah.
The analogy that I was using with the pumpkin, there's a thick outer skin. So thick, like you can knock on it and it's hard, it's solid. But then once you cut open what's inside, all you see is guts and seeds. Where it's like everything is compressed into small little beings and nothing is burst open yet because there's that thick outer layer that won't allow anything to get in to do that. And that thick outer layer is narcissism. Basically, giant artificial layer of a quote-unquote self-love.
Self-love, but like in a cocky, like overconfident, I want what's mine and I don't care about you kind of way. Because self-love is good, but narcissism, not good. And it sucks because they can actually teeter. Like you can be
I'm gonna look at a
self-loving person and then you just fall into narcissism without even realizing it.
I'm gonna tie this together. I'm gonna talk about selfies. Because this is probably, in my opinion, the one time where having a little bit of narcissism, like 1 or 2% of your personality being having narcissism, because I'll admit personally, I take selfies. And I do that because, you know what, from time to time, I do feel pride within myself. Sometimes I feel good. Sometimes I'm having a good hair day, I want to take a selfie.
Yeah, I admit it.
I'm sorry. Sal, there you go, you too.
I've been narcissistic at times.
Yeah.
So.
It's okay.
It happens, you know. No one's perfect.
No one's perfect. And sure, you know, from here and there, from time to time, people are gonna like your photo, people will comment on it. You know,
and then you feel like you should keep doing that. Maybe I should. Maybe people like that.
But
maybe I should keep doing it.
To me, it's more of a reflection of myself. You know, I am proud of myself, and I guess because it's coming out in the form of a selfie, it's seen as a bit more narcissistic. Selfies can also, that's kind of like the positive look of narcissism in selfies, but then there's the kind of narcissism where people like your pictures and you get the wrong impression. Sometimes I like a person's photo because I genuinely like the photo. But then on the other side of things, they might be thinking, oh, that person like their photo? They're thinking about me.
More
they think
photos
I'm
like this.
cute. Gotta take more pictures like this. I'm hot.
Taking my shirt off.
Yeah.
Not me,
you like
though.
that?
I wouldn't do that.
Just stuff like that. And then
keep
bam,
going.
selfies, comment, like, share, subscribe. Yeah.
All of a
stuff like
sudden,
that.
I'm not invisible anymore.
Yeah, that's
Insane.
like the other way of looking at selfies, and it's kind of like the modern day way of Johnny Bravo, but over social media and over through liking pictures.
Man, I've seen
Instagram, Facebook, even Twitter, favoriting people's tweets of pictures of themselves, stuff like that.
I've come across like people's vines where like they were like, "Yo, girl, you want some of this?" And like they just like point the camera down at their body.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're like ripped abs and everything. It's like, yo, you want some of this?
Some of it
I'm like,
is funny, depending on the way that, or depending on like the person that I don't know. Some of it's like a parody, but some of it's legit. And when you see
Yeah.
the ones that are actually legitimately
Like, seriously.
narcissistic,
yeah,
you think to yourself, you have gotta be kidding me. Because even 20 years ago, we only used to see narcissistic people in parodies.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't totally see them as real. It was always a myth,
exactly.
unless you actually genuinely had the disorder. But now it's become so much more prominent nowadays.
We are surrounded by people who just like the person I'm trying to describe is like a person who doesn't care about anyone's feelings but themselves, and it feel like that's like such a promoted thing
It's
nowadays.
ignorance.
It's ignorance, it's
ignorance.
selfishness, but it's like I'm gonna do this my way, and I don't care what you think. Well, it's good not to care what people think to an extent. If you think that you're like better than people, then it's not a good thing to do. I know parents are starting to like raise their children to make them think that
They're better than other
that they're
people.
better than other people,
Instead of
saying that you're special for a certain reason, and
people love you for who they
people
are.
will love you if you're not fake and you're who you are. And then
Yeah.
they call it the precious snowflake syndrome.
Yeah. And it's the same idea with romantic relationships too. Like people can tell you,
snowflake,
exactly.
and you're special,
Like people can tell you, especially even in romantic relationships.
and you're better than everyone. Sorry,
You're so much better than this. You deserve better. Like,
oh my god, I need to
and people
upgrade.
raise their expectations.
Their standards. Sorry,
Their standards are so high all of a sudden. I've had a few romantic experiences where that has kind of come into play, and I went through something where my standards did get really high for a little bit, and but then I kind of, came back to earth a little bit and realized there's a reason why the friendships that I have right now have lasted for so long, and that the romantic ones that I have haven't overly worked out so great. It's because my friends love me for me, and for some of those romantic relationships, again, about the whole arm candy thing, it was sort of a narcissistic thing, little bit more of
They care about
a
like,
lust
what people
thing.
think. Yeah, infatuation.
Yeah. It's different. It's a bit narcissistic.
Yeah.
And so, I realized that, and it's something that's kind of sinking in and nesting within myself. But yeah, that's romantic relationships for you with narcissism.
In my past relationships, I've been blessed with not knowing what I should have, which is a narcissistic
It's a narcissistic point of view.
Yeah, it's not a narcissistic point of view. Well, I mean, that's a narcissistic point of view, just thinking like, oh, this is what you should have in a relationship and what you should be doing. Basically, I've learned basically what I should not have.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned with my romantic relationships.
I agree
and
with
stuff.
you there. This is what Sal is trying to say. He knows not what there should be, but what there shouldn't be. Which means he understands the basic needs that are necessary and the importance of implementing them.
Good relationship.
For a healthy relationship. Which nowadays...
Not gonna pull my hair out.
Yeah.
Both people...
Nowadays, that's like hitting a gold mine. Here's another example of how it is so evident in society. Mm-hmm. Celebrities.
Why do we worship celebrities?
Why? It's because they're on our favorite TV show, and we think one's more good looking than the other, and so we'll...
But they're bad role models. They're bad people. They're bad people to worship.
There's some people...
Why are we doing
Okay, there are some celebrities who are a lot more humble than others. There's some of them that
That's
throw
true.
out their wealth, and they throw out their looks, and they throw out the fact that they're successful. And yep,
Like
you
Tyrese
know,
Gibson is a good one.
there we go. And they live outlandish lifestyles, absolutely ridiculous.
And don't give back to the
And-
world. Yeah.
Yeah, they could care less about what's going on in the rest of the world. Their life that they have is theirs to live, and no one's gonna stop them.
Ain't nobody's gonna stop me.
What
Nobody's gonna
they
stop
don't
me.
realize, though, especially a lot of artists, musicians, pop artists, is that so many people, particularly youth and young adults, look up to these people, these celebrities that are, portraying images that are absolutely saturated in narcissism. I mean, constant
Yes.
photo shoots, campaigns for different marketing companies, different products, and it's absolutely outrageous because through these products, which are trying to give a perception almost of having confidence in yourself, meanwhile it's narcissism, they should actually, instead of portraying that kind of image to the world, they should be truly portraying the fact that
I'm happy in my
I'm
skin.
happy.
Yeah.
I don't need Photoshop to make me.
I worked. This is
Look
how I
better.
got to this point in life.
I worked hard,
Yeah, I'm hardworking.
and now I'm here.
Respect people.
And you know what? There's some amazing and talented actresses, musicians out there who really do deserve where they are today. But then there's a few of them out there where it's just you shake your head and you really, really wonder
Was it just right place, right time for them?
exactly.
But
And
I
people worship
digress.
them. And for what? Their image?
They,
Do you really know these people?
they're-
No.
if you actually got to know these people, they probably won't care about your opinions, your ideas. They won't sit down and talk to you. And so many girls today, and not just girls, but people in general, they worship these bands and these very, very, very popular figures. If you were to run into them on the street, would they would they care about you?
Some would and some wouldn't.
You
And
know?
that's the gist of it. And the ones that are most high profile are the ones that would probably look at you like you're a flea.
Yeah, they'll see you as
And
oh, here's
continue
another
on
one.
walking like their
Here's another one of them.
poop don't stink.
Because they've reached a point where they're established. They can just sneeze out a record and it'll sell millions because they got the numbers to back it up. So it's why are you wasting your time worshiping these kind of people? They're not who you think they are. They're an idea. Do you think most celebrities actually do things because they feel like it?
It's because they want to portray an image.
Because they need to be in the media, so they do scandalous things.
Sex
and-
sells. At
Exactly.
the end of the day, these
And we're
people are in
buying.
it for the money.
Exactly.
It's a business. It's
they're a
blooming
production
business.
They're a production unit as the farmers would call their cows at one point.
sure.
They're production units.
And they're making the milk. It's out there.
It's true. Yeah, they
People
won't
drink it every day.
basically.
The image that these celebrities portray in Just is not genuine.
It's not really them. It's just an amplified version of them. Like Lady Gaga, she doesn't walk around every day with those kind of costumes and
It's an image.
have that kind of that personality. She probably does, but it's just Lady
Money.
Gaga.
It's business.
It's not.
It's the image.
What's her name? Marissa or something? I don't know.
Her name is Stephanie Germanotta.
Okay, Stephanie Germanotta and Lady Gaga are two different beings, and Stephanie doesn't sell. Lady Gaga sells, so she'll
That's
put up.
her persona.
She'll dress up as Lady Gaga because she'll do her little song and dance and make her money, and then who cares?
Actually, I'm gonna kind of go against you there and say that she's actually a very well-developed and talented artist.
That's
She's
true,
gone
yeah.
to school, she's gone to university, she started from the bottom, literally worked in the trenches, and she's
Yeah, it's true.
extremely talented and respectable. However, the image that she does portray, all the elaborate outfits and shows that she puts on, entertaining.
That's not a person, though.
That's not a person,
That's
that's
an
a
idea.
persona.
That's a persona. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah, but
I'm
I
not
just
trying
wanted
discredit
to.
her.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to clarify that. What should be really, really, really.
She lives for the applause, the applause, the applause.
Yeah.
She lives for the applause, She lives for the applause.
And that's literally the media. What should be portrayed is we really, really, really need to remember the importance of self-love. But the true meaning of self-love, loving you for
Exactly.
who you are, your imperfections, and knowing that people do love you for the person who you are and not just for what you come off as and what you own and who you hang out with and what your connections are. Not your political, monetary status. No. At the end of the day, we're all human, and we should understand the fact that, you know, nobody's perfect. You might as well love them for who they are. Because at the end of the day, after all that materialistic crap is gone, that's all you got left. That's the person you're waking up with in the morning and go to bed with at night. And so that's what should be portrayed, the truth. Not just the sugar-coated, fun, fluffy cotton candy. Instagram filtered, photoshopped, edited.
Airbrush.
Media portrayed, airbrushed picture that we see on the magazine covers, social medias, heck, even their bedroom walls every day. And mind you, that's never gonna go away. We need to remember at the end of the day not to be caught up in this narcissistic society that we live in. You know, there are some positive aspects to it. There are. However, at the end of the day, it is a very bittersweet, more bitter than sweet trait. It's a trait
that is not really good for you as is for other people's perception of you. So it's like bad for both ends of the...
It's a little bit... It's bittersweet on both ends of the spectrum, but...
The spectrum, yeah.
It's better to be a person who shows more self-love and self-awareness than overly narcissistic.
Exactly.
Can't escape it. It's there. It's not going anywhere. Clearly, it's always been there, based on Greek mythology, and the
Bible.
And the Bible.
It's talking about it.
Many written scriptures.
Of course.
But I don't think it's going anywhere. So the best thing we can do is understand it
and fix our perception on it, basically.
Narcissism, again, at the end of the day, it's a character trait. It's something underneath it all. It's in our genes. Some people have a very low dose of it, and some people have the full-blown dose of it. Exactly. It's not going anywhere. It's in our society, but the more important trait to build up in ourselves is self-love.
Self-love, self-respect, and love for others.
Yes. We're not saying you shouldn't love yourself. We're saying you shouldn't love yourself for the wrong reasons.
You should not, overindulge in that.
No. Again,
it's good to be confident.
I mentioned this earlier on, everything in moderation. We have branched off on many, many different topics, which you may see down the line on future podcasts.
Yes.
So this is a great reason to stay tuned for more interesting and relatable chats.
Yes.
And opinions. I am just saying. It's only going to get juicier from here, kids.
Just saying. So that wraps up this podcast on narcissism.
And self-confidence.
I can't spell that word. I can't. I put too many S's or too little S's. It's Narcissistic.
This is what happens when you're born with a slight lisp and speech impediment.
I spelled that word right.
Yeah.
That's narcissism. That's narcissism and self-confidence.
Yup.
If you want to follow Amanda on Twitter, links in the description.
My Twitter is @Kayumps, spelled Cayumps, for some interesting insight and opinions and daily lingo. It's just myself. Me.
It's just her.
It's me all of my colorful, interesting, I guess.
She's not gonna she's not gonna talk about her. She's not gonna overindulge on herself.
No.
But yeah, that's it. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. I'm not forcing you to. I'm just saying.
I like this. It's everyday people like you and me voicing our opinions because we have one.
If you want, you can search Just Sayin podcast on iTunes and it'll pop up. I'm not sure about Android. I'll figure out the Android stuff.
Yeah, figure it out because my Android don't work.
Yeah. There's probably a podcast app on the Android.
Something like that. This was fun. This was an outside the box experience. I want to do it again. This is good. You'll be hearing more of me.
Good conversation. Exactly.
Excellent.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
That was Just Sayin podcast. I'm just gonna end it right now because I don't know how to make it end. And say bye.
Just saying. Just saying bye.